That wasn't very loud. We needed loud. I was like, what? So step one, remember we walked into that Roman home. We saw what? Fresh food. It's a bit harder for us to do that nowadays, isn't it? It's a bit harder for us to get the fresh food, the nutrients that we need. The nutrient-rich fresh food, I should say it very clearly. We need a little bit of help. VMG, E omega, PB Restore. We know about those. We're not going to go into detail. We know all about that, don't we? Okay? We know the reasons why we need that. Again, back to the principles upon which it's built. You see our wellness pyramid here. Okay? Next, we have our essential oils. You've heard us talk about these top 13 oils. Please don't get too mad at us because these are the 13 oils. We probably would have wanted to put a bunch more in there, but we need to simplify this. We need to get down to what is it that a new person, a newer leader, or you yourselves can teach your teams to say, if you have this, you will be set. So far this year we've had Digestion Month, right? In January. Each and every month we're going to be focusing on one of these oils, plus the peppermint that comes with an enrollment order, right? Remember that? So that we know exactly how to talk about the oil, we know why it is great, we know why we need to use it, we know why doTERRA makes it unique, and we have research to back up why it is so cool. Are you talking about Copaíba tonight a little bit? He is now, because sorry about that, my bad. I did not mean it that way. But we're going to back up so that you know how to teach your team to use it. Do you know that these 5 ml bottles, if you use 3 drops a day, that 5 ml bottle will be gone in 1 month? Did you know that? How easy is it to use 3 drops of Copaíba today? Pretty easy, right? How about digestion? Because we're eating a lot of food here, right? So we're going to be using a lot of digestion. If we can help our teams, help our customers, help ourselves use 3 drops a day of that, it will change our lives. I know that because it's done that for me. I'll pause here for a second. Actually, no, let me keep going. Step 3, targeted solutions. When we have our foundations, oils, nutrition, gut health, sometimes we're going to need a little bit of targeted support, right? Send in some emergency response. We're going to need some help in immunity. We're going to need some help in digestion. Maybe a little bit of extra help in sleep. Maybe a little extra help in metabolism, right? What are the simple add-ons and solutions that we both simply bolt on to our daily routines? All in line with our foundation, our lifestyle pyramid here. You see that? Easy as 1, 2, 3. That make sense?
Yep.
We liking that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm loving this. I hope you do. So we talked, this is the summary stuff. Wellness made simple. Foundational wellness. Supplements, oils, the communicators, the drivers, and our targeted solutions when we need just a little bit extra help. This is where we're focusing. This is where we're aligning. This is where we'll potentially be pruning too. When Dr. Hill's talking about simplifying our product offering, we're going to be simplifying into this so it's very clear and we have very simple, easy answers and we make wellness simple. Okay. Yes, I'll do this. Should I do this? Yeah, she loves this slide. And then we'll hand off. How many were here last night for the compensation plan? Right? Very excited. I love the principles upon which that's built. I love it so much. What is the driver of our compensation plan? What is the driver of it? Enrolling, yes. Yes, sure. $500. LRP, yep, absolutely.
Retention.
It is our products that are the driving force behind this, regardless of that person is brand new, they come back in, whatever it is, LRP, all of those pieces, yes, they all drive it, but products are the driver. That is our differentiator. Essential oils are, again, our unique contribution to the world. Okay, bringing that gift of healing from the earth. I like to look at it this way: 5, 4, 3, 2, win. I know it's not that simple, but I'm just trying to make it as easy to remember as possible. 5 people buying the better kit. So again, that's the BMG, E omega, or our family essentials kit. We are also working on what does that foundational kit look like from an oil standpoint, those 13. What does that look like? 5 people doing that creates a 500 pod. 4 people doing the best kit, $500 pod. 3 people doing the best kit plus one of the targeted solutions. Some of those targeted solutions are a little bit higher and lower than others. That creates a $500 pod. So when we talk about compensation plan changes, all those things, and simplification of our products, we are also very mindful that it must work within your businesses in order for you to be successful. And at the end of everything, all of us up on stage, that is all we want, is to help you be successful. So when Dr. Hill invites you to say, come tell us what you need, tell us what you need to be successful, we really mean it. That is all we really care for. So thank you all so much. I appreciate everything that you do. And again, I'm going to go back to that service. I felt your service too. I know so many of you helped me, helped my family, answered my questions, or when we've come to you and had a problem, and you've helped me solve it. So thank you from my heart, personally, for your service. Thank you. Brandon and I spent the day painting stuff. He was much more successful getting it off than I was. Little green. Okay, Brandon.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Okay, guys.
Woo!
It's always like coming home, you know? You get to see great familiar faces, right? Sandy, Michelle, you know, Janae, all these folks, right? PJ back here. Great familiar faces. And then what's beautiful about this family reunion is you also get to meet some new faces, which is really fun. So I've had some time to spend with some of you. Diana, your amazing husband. Jack, it was good to spend some time with you last night, just to meet some new people. I hope you've taken this opportunity to meet new people and to learn from them what they're doing and the things that they have found to be helpful. Tonight I want to go over a couple of things. One is kind of this organization of the human body. We tend to think about health in kind of a more global concept. My body is healthy. We would consider that an organism, right? My organism is healthy. But really, when you think about health, it comes down to a cellular level. It really is, if my cells are healthy, then my tissues are healthy. If my tissues are healthy, then my organs are healthy. If all my organs are healthy, then the organ systems are healthy. And once all my organ systems are functioning properly, now the organism or my whole human body is healthy. So when we talk about health, really we're talking at a microscopic level as to how are my individual cells doing. Now notice there, at those cells, you can see that there's cofactors required for cells to be healthy. Those are vitamins and minerals. Now, beyond that, those cofactors are utilized by pathways within the cell. I'm going to get back to that concept in just a minute. So this is kind of an easy example for us to understand. This is an artist's rendition of the hemoglobin molecule. These are packed into your red blood cells. You can see a tiny red dot in each of those chains. You've got 4 chains there, but that tiny red dot is iron. That's a mineral. And if you don't have that iron, you have a huge problem. What does iron do for us in red blood cells? Yes, you in the front row of the black shirt.
Yeah.
It binds oxygen. It helps bind oxygen within red blood cells. And so it delivers oxygen to the rest of our tissues. So that one molecule of iron, if we don't have that one thing, red blood cells can no longer carry oxygen. And then when they get to the cell, they can't bind carbon dioxide, which is a toxin to the body, and get rid of that. So it becomes very problematic. So we think about that's going on at a cellular level. Now what happens to the system when we don't have enough oxygen? These things. We become very restless. We start to get headaches. We get confused. We get rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing. You can even get some anxiety that happens. So the organism begins to experience symptoms because the cells aren't so happy. And if it gets really bad, then it goes to a slow heart rate, and then blue skin. We've probably all seen somebody that hasn't had enough oxygen where they get blue skin, called cyanosis. So that example of a molecule causing systemic problems, you can understand how that works now. So let's talk about E-omegas for a minute. I just want to bring up a couple of concepts with some of our products, our foundational supplements, and why you might be interested in making sure you're taking those every day and recommending those every day. So these are E-omegas, right? E-omega plus, we have omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-9s. The interesting thing is that omega-3s and omega-6s, omega-3s we know are anti-inflammatory, omega-6s are pro-inflammatory, okay? And omega-9s, which I'm not going to spend much time on tonight, but omega-9s are actually very helpful for your cardiovascular health. So if we go omega-3s and omega-6s, we've got this balance of inflammation, right? Pro-inflammatory molecule, anti-inflammatory molecule. The challenge is this. In the standard American diet, our relationship of omega-6s to omega-3s is 16 to 1. 16 to 1. And current data tells us even with the cleanest diet, you're never going to get back to a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's pretty significant. No wonder we're seeing what we're seeing in the U.S. environment is that there's lots of challenges in that category of inflammation. So we really do now have to make sure that we're supplementing with something that can be helpful for us. Now I want to show you a molecular structure of omega-3s, okay, versus saturated fatty acids. We have unsaturated fatty acids, that's your omega-3s, and that actually is an omega-3 molecule. You see that red double bond there? That makes the kink in the molecule so that it's not exactly flat. That structure is very, very important. Omega-6s, you would see that 3 carbon bonds later, omega-9s later. So every time there's a double bond, it makes a kink in the molecule. Now, why is that important? Because our cell walls are made up of these molecules. So if we're looking at the saturated fatty acids in this slide, if our cell wall is made up of the saturated fatty acids, that's on the right side of your screen. Then our cell walls have all of these molecules that line up really closely together, and anything that's that tightly packed in does not move very well, is not very fluid at all. Okay? You can see then on the left side of the screen, when we have those little kinks in the molecule, it changes the shape a little bit. Now when our cell wall has some of those in there, now they're not lined up so tightly, and that cell has much more fluidity to it and can handle some of the pressures that the body puts on. So understand just from a molecular basis why your omega-3 fatty acids, not just talking about the inflammatory issue, but why your omega-3s are so very important for your cellular health. It's incredibly important. Okay, this is a beautiful rendition of a microbiome. I really love this picture. I know, Lauren's giggling up here, because to me, this is the most beautiful picture of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that you'll ever see. Okay? I love this picture because it really shows the beauty of a microbiome. A microbiome is a collection of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that live on or in the human body and has significant function for us. A recent study came out that says the genes of the microbiome outnumber human genes 100 to 1. They're so full of genetic data that we need, and that's pretty significant. So real quickly, what does the microbiome do for us? It helps us with digestion, it educates and supports the immune system. It prevents pathogens from invading, meaning if I sterilize my hands, if I use a hand sterilizer or an antimicrobial soap, I'm getting rid of all of the normal bacteria on the hands. If I'm doing that over and over again, now I'm leaving space for bad guys to come in and hang out. We have to be careful with that. I love my moms that are always sterilizing their kids' hands. We can use soap and water. It's okay. We don't need to be using hand sanitizer all the time. Right? It helps make vitamins that we cannot make, and then it supports the nervous system by making neurotransmitters, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So this is our 4 P's of the microbiome with our PD Restore, our probiome. I'm not going to talk about all of the things. You've all seen this slide. You know all about the bacteriophages and the prebiotic and all of that stuff. But just a reminder, and I'm going to highlight some of the things that we don't talk about very often. We've got our probiotics, our prebiotics, and our postbiotics. Remember, postbiotics are those things that the microbiome will make when it's established in the gut. It makes a number of things for us. Those are things like this. You can see serotonin's up there, GABA's up there, norepinephrine is up there, a number of things. Now, we've talked about serotonin and melatonin and all of that. What I want to focus on tonight is just the short-chain fatty acids on the right side of your screen. Butyrate, propionate, and acetate. We haven't given that much time to talk about. And I think these are really cool molecules. Okay? So, propionate, you can see that it is the energy source for colon cells. Your GI tract requires butyrate to function. It reinforces the gut barrier. I'll talk about that in just a minute. It reduces inflammation. It regulates gut motility. It decreases your risk of inflammatory bowel disease. And then decreases your risk of colorectal cancer. Pretty important. Moving on to propionate. Propionate is actually very important for brain health. It protects against neurodegenerative disease. It boosts the immune system. It's involved in energy metabolism. It reduces our weight gain. And then it reduces intra-abdominal fat. And then lastly, acetate is also a source for energy cells, but this is largely small intestinal cells that use acetate. It regulates lipid metabolism. And again, we go back to this fact that it reinforces gut barrier. Now, we've probably all come across individuals that are having significant challenges with gut barrier. Now, what does that mean? That means that our cells, okay, Lauren, come up. Russ, come up, if you would. And Doc, will you come up? Here it's up. I want you guys to stand up here shoulder to shoulder. Okay? There you go. All right, very good. All right, Jared, come on. If these guys are the lining of your GI tract, and they should be really tight together here. Yes, you guys are now in colon. Yeah, exactly. That's true. No, and then we just, this is weird, we've just eaten Jared. Okay? And Jared is moving through the GI tract. He's too big to go by any of these guys. They're like, no, you can't come through. You're too large. We haven't broken you down into the little pieces. Okay? And no, you just don't want them. I get it. Okay? But now the problem is if our gut barrier, yeah, there you go, is like this, and there are large spaces between those cells, now Jared, completely undigested, can get through and gets to our bloodstream. And our bloodstream goes, I don't know you. What are you doing here? And it starts to mount an immune response against this particular food that we eat. So that gut barrier is so very important. Thank you guys, I appreciate your help. Our gut barrier is so very, very important. And so that microbiome that produces these short-chain fatty acids, and then our PD Restore that has the short-chain fatty acids in it, is so important in healing that GI tract, making sure that we're not getting undigested food through. Okay, so I want to give you one example of what it looks like to talk about pathway versus nutrient. And we can go through this. PJ, you know this. Cliff, you know this. We've spent some time on this. I'm just going to give you an example of why you would need nutrients in our supplements and the pathway of On Guard to make sure that your immune system is healthy. So when we look at nutrients for our immune system, we know that the omega-3 fatty acids, we talked about this, they create the cell walls of our immune system. Vitamin C is an antioxidant that supports our immune cells. We see there that we've got vitamin D, regulates our immune response. Zinc helps the body produce immune cells. And the list is on and on of how those micronutrients, our omega-3s, our microbiome, and the things that are in our VMZ support our immune system. And then we need those things for the immune system to function correctly. But if we look at our On Guard blend, this is some research that was published quite some time ago, and it says this: On Guard exhibited significant effects on the level of protein biomarkers that are critically involved in inflammation, immune modulation, and tissue remodeling processes. The overall inhibitory effect of On Guard on these protein biomarkers suggests that it has an anti-inflammatory and immune-modulating properties. Further analysis shows that On Guard robustly affected signaling pathways related to inflammation, immune function, and cell cycle. So with On Guard, pathways are now open in the immune system, and with our VMC, the Omega Plus, and our PB Restore, nutrients are now supplied for that pathway to use those nutrients so that everything functions optimally. Do we get that? Does that make sense to us? And we can give you example over and over and over again about digestin and nutrients, peppermint and nutrients, frankincense and nutrients, and how those two are related, and you really cannot optimally use one without the other. As Dr. Hill showed you that picture of the key to a car and the gas in the car. If I jump in the car and there's no gas in it, even if I have the key, where am I going? Nowhere. Right. If I jump in the car, right, and it's filled up with gas, because thankfully the kids filled it up last night when they came home, and I don't have the key, where am I going? Nowhere. You have to have both things to get optimal function of that car. This is the same with nutrient and pathway. So that's just our seasonally immune, and then you also have targeted solutions. I think, Lauren, you're going to talk about that in a little bit, okay? So you also have targeted solutions. So now if I go, okay, I need a little bit of extra help with my immune system beyond just having On Guard and my nutrients, now we have things like our On Guard Plus, we have things like our On Guard lozenges, right, that have extra vitamin D, zinc, extra On Guard in it, because now I need extra support for that immune system. So we love that we've got kind of foundational things, and then if you need a little extra help, you've got those targeted solutions. Okay, I want to close with just one thing. I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking about what is meaningful for me here at doTERRA. I'm going to hand this over to you. And I have this book. I tend to read from this book when I'm out in the forest. This is my book of quotes. And does anybody remember Mr. Rogers? Anybody grew up watching Mr. Rogers? Right? Fred Rogers, amazing, amazing man. And as I was thinking today, as we were out at Pasito de Luz and spending time with each other and serving, I was thinking about this quote. He says, no matter what our particular job, especially in our world today, we are all called to be tikkun olam, which means repairers of creation. Thank you for whatever you do, wherever you are, to bring joy and light and hope and faith and pardon and love to your neighborhood and to yourself. Thank you, guys. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have seen this site before. I just want to remind you that we're not a fragrance company, and I want to tell you what fragrance company is.
It's not a fragrance
so you don't get worried. Fragrance companies are companies that take essential oils, adulterate them, contaminate them for their own profit. We are not that.
Okay, bravo! Woo!
Powered by essential oils, as Dr. Hill and Jared and Brannick have stated before. I'm going to share with you a slide that none of you have seen before. So, I think this is probably, Dr. Hill and I were commenting on this slide before when I was talking with Dr. Hill about it. I'm trying it out on you. Nobody at doTERRA has seen this slide other than kind of Dr. Hill and the group on the stage.
Wow.
So if you understand this, I'm going to be grateful, and we'll use it again. If you don't, then it will never see the light of day again. But I'm really hoping that you get it. So when we look at lavender versus doTERRA lavender, so this is the worldwide lavender, and the standards that are made by industry to define what is a quality lavender or not. If you look at the orange bars, that is ISO, or the International Standard Organization. They define what the chemistry of a particular oil should look like, from lavender to peppermint to copaiba. They have standards for all of them, and they say this is what a quality lavender looks like. There is also two other bodies that create
standards for essential oils. There's the Europeans, and then there's also the World Health Organizations. Now, what is different about those bars? Primarily, it is the truck that you could drive through the quality standards that the rest of the world uses to define what a quality lavender is. What you're looking at right here on the left-hand side of the screen is linalool acetate and linalool. The purple bar is doTERRA. The purple bar is doTERRA. The rest of the world says that lavender can kind of look like anything you want. And you can call yourself a lavender. And you can have 20% of linalool in one batch or 40% of linalool in the next batch. And that's okay. That's high quality lavender. And that is what is wrong with the essential oil industry today, is that it is industry friendly, not customer friendly. You guys know that a high quality lavender is not just a lavender free of contamination or adulteration, but it is a lavender that is consistent, batch to batch, year to year, and drop to drop. When we look at doTERRA's lavender, those pink bars over the last 10 years, we have 1.5% variation in our linalool concentration on either side of the mean. That is insane. It's better than the drug companies. On this screen right here, you see essentially every major compound found within lavender, and even some of the minor ones. What you notice about these is that our variation, this little tiny purple bar, compared to this thing you could drive a semi-truck through, is what everybody else in the world has. What you have is totally different. You're totally different in the essential oil universe, and now you understand it, and you have to help others to understand it.
Woo!
Yeah. Dr. Hill suggests that I tell you a little bit how we do that. So how we do that, how do we actually do what the rest of the world has not figured out? So when Dr. Hill says that we know more than they do, this, what I'm going to explain to you is an example, a real world life example of how we know more than they do. When we distill lavender, we don't distill it in a mom and pop or different way. We follow the exact same distillation procedure every time we distill lavender. That creates consistency. Another way that we create consistency is we gather lavender from multiple different locations across the world, multiple different countries, where we are, by bringing those batches of lavender together, we're reducing variation. So if you rely on one field in one country in one place, if you get locusts invading, or if you have drought, or if you have too much water, the quality of your lavender will vary wildly depending on Mother Nature. But if you have multiple fields of lavender, because we are huge, every other mom and pop company that sells oils are selling them like, oh, the 1996 lavender had back notes of this and that, blah, blah, blah. What the heck ever? That is all just ridiculous to me. If you can create a product that is similar, whoops, I guess I went back. If you can create a product that is consistent as those purple bars, which we have done, by reducing variation either with large fields of lavender, taken from multiple countries all over the world, or small fields of 3-acre farms of geranium or tea tree in Kenya, and you bring those 500 farmers together, you reduce variation, and you come up with a very consistent, extremely consistent product. Even more consistent than pharmaceutical standards.
Wow.
So when we say that we're pharmaceutical grade, and the lawyers get mad at me for saying it, what I mean is that we're better than that.
Woo!
Well, so I think it's important to know, even when we're talking about this the other day, that in pharmaceuticals, you can still call, if you have a drug that's 100 milligrams, you can still say it's 100 milligrams and it can be 105 or 95. And then recently they've done some studies that said instead of varying by 5% on either side of the line, it's now varying 12 to 15% on either side of that line.
Depending on the medications.
Correct, which makes it look like the ISO standards when it comes to medication. It's pretty cool that
we're really, thank you, Brandon, we're really incredibly consistent in we have gotten it down to not an art but a science. We know more than the world does about essential oils. We know more about their distillation, we know more about their growth. There are hundreds of different cultivars of lavender. We use one. We bring it always together. We are distilling them exactly the same temperature, same time. We don't help people to understand why that's important. Why is it important? Because without, did I break it? Without high quality oils, consistent in their nature like we just discussed, you and your customers cannot dose them correctly. Because you cannot dose correctly, you can't use them safely. You can't, therefore, evaluate whether they work or not. You cannot do clinical trials on something that varies by 20 to 40%. It's unethical to give human beings something and then say, hey, you guys should take this, but really have no earthly idea whether it will work or not next time. But please, take this and let's publish the paper. It's just garbage in, garbage out. You can't reproduce results without that kind of consistent chemistry. You need to understand this because it's what makes doTERRA so special. So what is Wellness Made Simple and the data behind it? You guys have heard of us talking about Wellness Made Simple and foundational wellness and the 3 products, the 3 supplements that make up that, and how Powered by Essential Oils is who we are. I'm just going to quickly roll through some data science with you. We did a human clinical study which we showed you a convention on VMG. We talked about bioavailability and bioretention. Don't worry, those just mean how effectively do the ingredients get into my body and to my cells. If you just take something into your body but you pee or poop it out, it was not bioavailable, it didn't help you at all. And unfortunately in the supplement world, that's what they are. If you don't have high quality ingredients, you're going to get low quality results. And that's what this industry sometimes is plagued by. We are bucking that trend. So bioavailability and bioretention means that if I give you a dose, the ingredients within that get into your bloodstream and are used by your cells. We did in vitro bioavailability, we did a pilot comparator study, and I'm going to walk you through that data really quickly. Really quickly, we compared calcium absorption between us and some of our competitors with VMGs pegged at 100%. So we just said, our bioavailability was the highest, we set that as the gold standard, and the other competitors, AG1 and Power Greens, were at 9.8 or 18.7% of our 100%. That means that their ingredients were only 18.7% as effective at getting to your cells, or 9.8% as effective at getting at your cells. I put Centrum up here because Centrum for adults doesn't have any calcium in it, which just goes to show how stupid the vitamin industry is. Yeah, don't take your great grandma's vitamins.
Centrum.
Can you advance the slide for me? I wonder if we're out of battery.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so with VMG, we also looked at vitamin C absorption. And vitamin C absorption, with our liposomal technology in use, as well as the essential oils in that liposomal technology to enhance absorption, we saw a 6.67-fold increase in absorption over using vitamins without that technology. So what does that mean? What that means is that any drinkable vitamin without that technology, any vitamin in a capsule without that technology, will have somewhere around the dark orange bar of absorption. It gets into your bloodstream, quickly is out and down to 0. Gets peed out through the urine and gone. What happens with VMG is it stays in your bloodstream longer. Therefore, when your cells put up their receptors and say, I need vitamin C. It's there. But if you took a vitamin in the morning and it's gone 2 hours later, and there is no vitamin C available for that cell, then the cell won't work right. What you want is that peak that gets high and stays as high as it can for as long as it can. If you understand that, you're going to really have a ball with the energy. Second, vitamin E, a fat-soluble vitamin. Vitamin C was our water-soluble. Vitamin E is our fat-soluble vitamin representative. Vitamin E was 5.4-fold greater in its bioavailability and bioretention than lower technology vitamins. So this is where I told you I was kind of sick when I saw this data. Everybody else was thrilled. And I was like, oh, flip. Because I was the one who said, don't do a 12-hour time plan. Because we had to make some cost-cutting measures in doing the study. I don't know if you see that on the graph, but we still at 8 hours have very high levels of vitamin E in the blood. We still don't know when they come down. And that's my fault. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dr. Bill might be of a different opinion, but yeah, I'm working on it. Just give me a minute. You guys are always in a hurry. All right. So this vitamin E level climbs after the dose, and then it stays high all the way throughout the day. We actually don't know when it falls. That is a remarkable piece of data.
Wow.
It really, really surprised me. Same thing with iron. Do you remember iron, the discussion that Dr. Riggs just had with you about hemoglobin, and if you don't have iron, this is what happens because you can't carry oxygen around the body? So iron, boom! Look at the comparison to the older technology vitamin on the bottom. We're talking about a 6.3-fold, 600% difference. So when you look at labels and you're comparing labels and you're looking at, wow, there isn't that much vitamin. There's more vitamins in Centrum than there are here. Well, that's because if we gave them to you in that level, you would get way too much. We are using way stronger technology that makes bioavailability much better. VMG is the highest quality vitamin on the market today.
Wow. Bravo.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But technology always does this to me. Here I am talking about it. Okay, let's move on to E omega. So E omega, this is where Powered by Essential Oils just sings. Human clinical trial, again about 50 people, saw significant, statistically significant reductions in resting heart rate and in diastolic blood pressure. Both of these are cardioprotective measures.
Esto es para la
The
presión
funny thing about this study is we've known that about fish oils for
todo
forever.
el sistema cardiovascular.
Everybody knows that that's what
Epigenetic
fish oils
finding.
do. But when we did a head-to-head trial, this was the beauty of this design, where we compared fish oil, just regular old high-quality fish oil, to fish oil with a therapeutic dose of limonene delivered by wild orange oil in E omega plus. Those drops in heart rate and in resting blood pressure were good in fish oil. Not great. But they were fantastic when we added wild orange oil to the fish oil. Statistically significant findings in reducing your heart rate and your blood pressure. So the work your heart does every day, reduced. The pressure that it's pushing against to move blood down to your big toe, reduced. The pressure, the number of times it has to beat every day, reduced. You do that for a lifetime, you live longer. One more time, moving forward. Please. Okay. Again, so we decreased diastolic blood pressure. Go ahead and move
Para la
again.
presión arterial.
I'm running out of time. Bingo. Decreased resting heart rate. Move it again. Please.
Okay,
Wow.
every single participant saw a
Todos vieron una
statistically
mejora en sus
significant
hormonas.
increase in their E omega levels in their blood.
Gran
This is as money
estadística.
back guarantee as you could get. Every single person in the study saw an increase in their E omega levels in their blood as a result of using E omega plus. Every single one. Next slide.
Wow, yo quiero aplaudir.
Quickly about frankincense. We completed a 60-person study in frankincense. We looked at blood markers, safety markers, and subjective surveys. Next slide. You gotta be faster. What did we find? We found that high sensitivity CRP decreased, and a survey called GAD-7, which measures the amount of stress and anxiety that people feel in their lives, everybody got better while taking frankincense duocaps. Next slide. Oh, that was frankincense, not E omega, by the way, on that slide. Not sure how that happened. Serenity, we've talked about before. When we did a research trial using the Serenity sleep system, we saw that the quality of life that people experienced after getting better sleep improved. Are we surprised that if you get better sleep, that you feel better? No. But it's nice to be able to see it. Next. We've talked to you a lot about epigenetics. I almost wish that we didn't say it because it's so confusing for people. Basically, all I want you to know is what Dr. Hill said earlier, that when we turn the key with an essential oil like Serenity, that cellular pathways change. Genes get expressed
Glucose
differently. You
metabolismo.
don't need to know the alphabet soup
Metabolismo
of the names of the genes. You just need to know that those genes are changed, which contribute to your body functioning more completely. Next slide. Oh, the slide. Oh, this gets changed. I think there must be something on there. There must be
Reduce
something.
la edad
This is
biológica.
not 39.3 to 40. I've had to change this 4 times, so there must be a Microsoft Cloud document that keeps changing it back. I have to kill him, Jordan. Okay, so it is 7 years difference in a biological age for brain age, and if you do the average amongst all of those, it's a 4-year
7
difference.
años menos.
So not 39.3, it's 36.3. So imagine that slide saying 36.3. I'm really sorry it says 39.
Wow. Quiero 7
So it's
años menos.
36.3.
Sería 33.
You gained back 4 years of biological age by taking Serenity Sleep System for 6 weeks.
Wow.
That's what the clinical trial data said. Next slide.
No manches, quiero eso.
So what are we doing next? A whole lot of stuff. And I'll leave it with one last thought that Kirk teased and Brandon teased again, or Jared teased. Who asked me about it? Jared.
7 años
So
menos
there was a
estando por una
clinical trial
semana.
recently completed on Copaiba.
4
Copaiba
semanas.
essential oil delivered in
En 4
capsules.
semanas disminuyó
Dozens and
la
dozens of
biológica.
people. We reached statistical significance in a finding that was really quite astounding. I still am kind of, as an infectious disease, I'm trying to figure out like what the crap's going on. And they're laughing because they remember me arguing with them about this like 5 years ago. I just want you to know that I did the study. Okay?
Pharmacokinetics studies.
I love you. I love you. No, we didn't know it. Okay. There's a difference between, and we won't get into the philosophical. All right, so when we looked at Copaiba given to people over a month of dosing with Copaiba, we saw very interesting changes in their microbiome. We saw that butyrate producing strains of bacteria, remember butyrate from Brannick's presentation? Statistically significantly increased. And species of bacteria that are harmful to our microbiome, statistically significantly decreased. And yes, this is me saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's very hard for me to say. Growth. Good for me. What's that?
It's a doctor trait, we forgive you.
Okay. A doctor trade.
James, don't let me get into your trades. Bring it, bro, bring it. Anyhow, the point I wanted to make was that the clinical science of doTERRA is far exceeding anything being done in the essential oil industry or even in academia today with essential oils. We are leading the world. We are understanding more about what essential oils do than anyone in the world. And you are with us on that journey. We share this data as well as we can, but we are working hard with our marketing folks, Mikkel and the education team, to make sure that you don't leave convention going, I don't have any idea what the heck you just said. We really want it to be something that's sticky for you, that you understand, and will land and turn into things that you can help people understand in your own language. And we'll get there, but we do have the science, and we wanted you to know that.
Bravo. Woo!
Is there anything I can do to make it work? Like, can we unplug it or replug it back in? Because I hate to make you have to click the whole time. Sorry. If you'd like to stand up and wiggle around, I'm sure your butts are numb at this point. So go ahead and wiggle and see if we can get the clicker to work. You made it work? Okay. The big one. Got it. All right. Get all your wiggles out. I really love this quote by Leonardo da Vinci. It says, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." The reason I think this is so incredibly important is I have been in doTERRA for just over 13 years. And I've been around long enough to remember the days where it was super exciting when we had certain people teaching certain classes, and you wanted to attend their classes because they always had this different take. They had this information that you couldn't get anywhere else. It was a new angle, and it's like new information. You just couldn't get enough of it. And then a couple years down the road, when there's enough people telling enough different stories, it causes a problem. Has anybody ever had the experience where someone from their downline was like, well, I just went to Ruth Goff's class, and she told me this is the very best answer for immune health. And then Brandon Briggs gets on one of your team calls and he says, this is the very best solution for immune health. And then they go to Laura Jacobs' class. This is the very best answer for immune health. And then they come back to you and they say, I'm not going to listen to what you said, but I'm also not going to listen to what they said, because they all said something different, so nobody knows what they're talking about. Is that a very fun experience? No. And it destroys your business, and it makes things really hard and frustrating. So while I love the magic of all of us being able to paint different pictures, what we wanted to do is actually listen to the science. So we had all of our amazing experts together in a room, and we hashed it out. And we chatted through what are the very best options that we know are going to move the needle the very best for everyone. Anybody who is not in the U.S. market, we will work with your market, and we will establish these for every market, so don't worry that you're going to feel left out if you see products that you do not have in yours. But what are the things that we know that will move the needle? Does that mean that if you go to a Marie Cottam class, and she's like, we are doing cellular health, that she can't include anything else into that? No. But how can we make it as simple and effective as possible, where people don't say, well, I couldn't do everything you just told me, so instead I just decided to do nothing, because obviously it won't work if I have to just choose one of your products. Because that doesn't go good either, right? So we want to know it's going to be effective, it's going to be easy, it's going to be repeatable. How many people want their leaders on their team who are brand new to say, I can start today and I don't have to know all 467 SKUs? Yeah. That's what this does. This gives the freedom that no matter what somebody comes and asks for help with, we have a simple, easy solution that is repeatable, and it's all based on starting with foundational wellness and then including the targeted solutions as necessary. Now, I didn't include all of our top 13 oils on here, but for some people, they might just start with foundational wellness, and they might just reach for that bottle of Serenity that they better have in their home, and that might be enough. And then if not, and they come to you like, I feel a little difference, but I really want to sleep better, great. Then you can reach for the soft gels that we sit and have them on the spot. This wellness lifestyle assessment, the reason this was created to make this as easy as possible, the whole goal behind this was your customer's going to tell you what they need to buy. So instead of you having to do a hard pitch, I think this is what you need, even though I don't have any major health or wellness training and I'm kind of unsure of myself and I'm brand new and I don't really know what I'm doing, I think this is what you need. Instead, your customer takes the assessment, they identify the gaps and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't think I slept perfect, but I didn't realize I slept this bad. Do you have something for that? Absolutely, we do. And anybody on your team, as they get started, can do this with a brand new customer. Okay. So now let's get a little human. I was loving Crystal when she was up on stage the other night. And
You are also human.
it just was so sweet to see her pour out her heart and say why does hair matter to her, how she was able to achieve the grand prize for the incentive trip. And she said something that I think is really important to remind all of you sitting in the room. As she was talking about how she showed up to serve people, she was like, well, I just treat them like they're human. And I want to remind you that you're also human. And your body has needs. And your schedules have been jam-packed. Rest and self-care are so important. When you take the time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. I admire so many of you that I've grown to know over the years, and so many of you that I will get to know over the coming years. You pour everything you have into your teams, into your customers, into your families, into your communities. And if you continue to do that without prioritizing your own health, without honing in your own daily routine, there will be no more of you to give.
Wow.
There are only so many diamond clubs in a row that the human body can endure. And before Drew or Isaac comes up here and tries to tackle me and thinks I'm telling you not to do multiple diamond clubs, what I'm telling you is the more that you want to pour into the communities that you love so much, the more you must take time to pour into yourself. You must double down on your daily routine. I think, like most of us, we grew up with moms from the era that self-care was selfish.
Yeah.
Right? The more we poured into our family, the more we loved them, and it was okay if we ended up with a crippled, ragged ball on the floor that hadn't washed her hair in 5 days. That was acceptable because I was proving how much I love my family by doing everything for them and nothing for myself. Yes, it's my hair. Yes, it's my hair. But what that does is that deprives the people that you're trying to love and care for and cheer on in their own health journey. It leaves them wondering, because at some point they're going to turn around and they're going to look back at you and be like, you look a little exhausted. You look a little tired. And you have told them to take care of themselves while not taking care of yourself at all. And then your cup runs empty. And for the moms in the room, I don't care what your mama told you. Self-care is not selfish. And if you do not cherish the time that you care for yourself, master that morning routine, master the nutrition, master the movement, you will deprive your children of the most precious resource they could possibly have, and that is you. You will rob your grandchildren of the most precious resource, which is you. Fill up your cup. Okay, so we're going to talk a little about hormones. Is that okay? Yeah. For the men in the room, if you try to run away, you are either married to a woman, fathered a young woman, have a sister, and nothing else. You have a mama. You need to understand the chaos that is happening there. So sit back, you're in for a roller coaster ride. Okay. So this, ladies, is our life stage in hormones. And the first roller coaster ride that you see at the beginning of the graph, that's puberty. And what no one warned you is that was the warm-up ride. Because look at what happens in menopause. We just took that roller coaster times 10. And the reality is it actually doesn't need to be this way. It is because we push our bodies as women far beyond their capacity, trying to fill up all of the other cups while never refilling our own. For the gentlemen in the room, when you wonder if you married someone who has multiple personality disorder, you did. She has 4 beautiful personalities in a month. And while your hormone levels rise and fall on a daily basis, steady over an entire month, testosterone little bumps, she has to deal with, not just 2. She has to deal with, 5 different hormones and a roller coaster ride. So it really is multiple personalities over 28 days. And every hormone, depending on where they are in their cycle, gets to rule the brain and decide what is most important. Decide if this is the time to be creative, or maybe this is the time we shouldn't be having those critical conversations with certain members on our team because we might not handle it so nicely. So this is something really important. I always usually tell people you don't need to memorize this, but I'm going to tell you that you need to know this. This is important, so take pictures. This is your sex hormone cascade. And what is at the very top?
Colesterol.
Fat. So who grew up in the 90s where it was fat makes you fat? Yeah. They lied. Yeah. Not having fat makes you crazy. Yeah. And infertile. So we need the fat. So we're going to start with fat, right? Then if you come down, there's 2 pathways we can actually go down there. One will generate progesterone, and the other one will generate testosterone and estradiol or E2. Do you see what is 2 levels below progesterone in blue? Cortisol. It's how much is everybody loving that marketing, just drink a drink and lower your cortisol level? That's not how it works. Do you know if you don't have cortisol, you don't wake up in the morning? So we don't necessarily want to lower cortisol unless we don't want to wake up, and that would be bad. But we are going for this nice little ski slope of cortisol throughout the day, so it spikes in the morning, you wake up, you get out of bed, and you don't have to have somebody yank you out of bed. You actually get to wake up on your own. And then all day long, it drops until the next morning where it comes up again. But the problem comes with, we get up in the morning and it spikes naturally to wake you up, and then we pound 2 cups of coffee on an empty stomach, and the cortisol's like, apparently I need to stick around. And then all the kids wake up and you're like, wow, let's get everybody out for the door today. And so that chaos starts and the cortisol's like, I am still needed, here we go. And then it's the drive to school and traffic, and then it is, I have 6 different calls with different team members today who all just decided they're gonna drop their LRP, and I need to get back home because my Power 3 is happening this month. And then all of a sudden the kids have 6 different activities after school, and the cortisol's like, I'm here all day, baby, this is so fantastic. And then your body's like, well, since we have to produce cortisol in far more higher levels than what I would normally do, I got to reprioritize how much she's got coming in here. So I don't really actually need as much progesterone right now because she should not be having babies. So instead, all the cortisol over here. And then we're like, well, I don't understand why the weight gain is happening around the section. Because cortisol is meant to be there to wake you up, or when the cougar showed up at the front door, not so that you could get through your 24-hour time clock. Then we have other women. We come down here to see where it says testosterone dropping to estradiol. Do you know the #1 cause for women to not have that switch from testosterone for the aromatase to convert it to E2? Spikes in blood sugar. So you gotta love the standard American diet. We're like, carbs are our besties. Only if we would like body hair growing in places that it was not supposed to be growing. Okay. So I would like you to understand your hormones a little better. So here is, I'm going to give your hormones some personality. And so you understand why she's so important. And I was going to give you the toxic version too, because yes, we can have too much hormones, just like we can have not enough of them. So progesterone is the caring friend who always looks out for others. She exudes warmth and support, often stepping into a proactive motherly role. She is the one who makes sure everyone feels safe and understood, quietly working behind the scenes to maintain balance in the group. And might I say, the minute that any of those things flip into the opposite, when she does not feel warmth and support, the minute that she does not feel protected or mothered, the minute that she does not feel safe and understood, she disappears. This is the symptoms of too high or too low. Again, take a picture. And ladies, it's time to start checking off some boxes. And gentlemen who really love their ladies, who can do this in the most loving and caring way, say, I know what you're going through. Because gentlemen, if you had to deal with, 3 of those things on the list, would you act very nice? So be a little bit more patient with her, okay? Then here's estrogen. She has an empowering quality that motivates and uplifts. She advocates for self-confidence, independence, and growth, traits that inspire others to embrace their uniqueness and pursue their ambitions. She is not just about energy, but empowering others to find their voice. However, when progesterone disappears and estrogen is in charge, she will force her voice on you. She will be overly confident and overly independent. I don't need you. I'm gonna make that Power 3 work anyways. I'm gonna place all the orders into your account because I have your password and it is happening. I love it. Everybody's like, I'm glad I have your password because you needed to place that order. All right, here's the symptoms of high estrogen and low estrogen. And again, start checking off the boxes. Gentlemen, you're going to look over at your wife very lovingly and say, I am so sorry that I did not understand what you were going through. Because neither list is fantastic. Yeah? Okay, and then here is testosterone. So yes, ladies, we do need our testosterone. And no, it's not just about libido, gentlemen. She values her independence. She trusts her instincts. With a sharp mind and an innovative approach to problem solving, she confidently makes decisions that reflect her personal values and goals, even if they go against the grain. And when testosterone is the only thing that's left, they're going to make anything work, no matter how many relationships we disrupt along the way. Symptoms of high testosterone. I love the giggles. Like, oh, that's me. Or, oh, I have someone on my team. It's just, I have to tell her, your testosterone is too high. Don't do it. It'll ruin the relationship, I promise. Here's symptoms of high testosterone. They need to discover it on their own. You just show the list and be like, I don't know. Here it is. Right? Symptoms, high and low. And again, high blood sugar drives high testosterone levels in women. And which means that just taking care of your blood sugar can undo that. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, so if you had to guess what the number one thing you could do with any doTERRA products, what were the things that you would tell someone to reach for to balance their hormones? The first thing that you would do, just shout it out. So now I'm going to go through each of the products, and I had 5 slides apiece, but because it is, 9 into it, I'm not going to do 5. But I want you to see that you can look at our foundational wellness through the lens of hormonal health, and it's still the place to start. So, 1, supporting hormone balance and production. We can do that with spinach, garlic grass, and spirulina. A consistent supply of these nutrients helps balance stress, balance thyroid, reproductive hormones, promoting emotional well-being, energy levels, and menstrual health. They help reduce inflammation to regulate hormonal balance. So the impact from purslane extract, Brussels sprouts extract, kale juice, and green cabbage powder. They lower inflammation. They help the body maintain optimal insulin sensitivity, balance sex hormones, reducing symptoms such as mood swings, fatigue, and irregular cycles. And then promoting liver detoxification for hormone clearance from chlorella, artichoke, and celery stem. Yes?
So, we can take the greens, the PB,
Yep.
and the omegas at one time.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me that if you don't eat, it's not a good thing to take you microbials. It's like a client of mine.
So I wouldn't know the reason why they would say that,
Okay.
but I can share a theory. There is a lot of people that are talking about certain greens can be inflammatory to the digestive system.
Okay.
So it's a conversation, but it's, usually there's a pitch behind it of why we're going to avoid certain foods like vegetables altogether afterwards. So anyways, everybody can debate it, but everything that they're saying the risk is from those greens, like spinach and kale specifically, we're talking about how it does the exact opposite. It reduces the inflammation. It's not causing the leaky gut, so I don't know if that helps or not. Yeah.
The more consistent we are with this, the less the chance of anything like that happening. Remember, we're restoring our health. We're building this strong foundation for the body to draw upon, and susceptibility to those kinds of things just diminishes.
And the other thing other clients said to me, this is a dream come true for me, it is that when you drink certain vitamins in the B&G and you take omegas at the same time, you might like the effectiveness of certain vitamins that are not doing well with your omegas. So that's another, concern that some of my clients have expressed. And these clients are the ones who are doing a little intermittent fasting, they're not eating their breakfasts are, 11, 12. And so, yeah, I'm trying to, tell them this is amazing to do the whole thing. What do you will say?
She gave me the mic. No, I've actually got a story about this. I like the context and the reasons why there's probably a lot of debate there, but I'm going to show you a little bit of research that I came across this week. So, we all love to eat, right? Does everybody love to eat? Man, you're really tired. It's fine. We're going to go fast. We all love to eat. If we sit down and we have a meal, or even if it's a treat or something, and we actually are introduced to stress in any way, I shouldn't have eaten that, or the kids ran in and did something, whatever. If we're introduced to stress, it's as if we ate an additional 104 calories just because of that stress we put on ourselves for no reason. So let me link the two together for you. So you hear us say a lot, when's the best time to take your VMG? When you remember.
When you remember.
If we stress about it, should I take it before? Should I take it after? Now again, there are valid reasons for that. We won't get away from that. But if we stress about it just for that one, it's not exactly 104 calories in this instance, but that stress, we just put our body through, just negated any benefit that we might get by taking it 10 minutes earlier. Does that make sense? So let's save ourselves those 100 calories and just take it when we remember and move on. Non-scientific answer.
Your customer does better, and she's saying, well, I want to separate it. I'm not arguing with her. Fantastic. Go ahead and separate it out. But for everybody else, if we just teach people whenever they're going to remember to take it, we're going to have a lot better compliance. Okay. Supporting gut health and hormonal balance between chlorella, spirulina, and maki berry powder. Impact of balanced microbiome reduces hormonal imbalances, actually called your estrobolome. Go Google that one, it's a blast. Reduces hormonal imbalances, prevents conditions such as estrogen dominance. Our E Omega Plus reduces inflammation, helps balance hormones. With reduced inflammation, the body can maintain balanced reproductive hormones, preventing conditions like PMS, PCOS, and irregular cycles. Supporting the cell membrane, like Brandon talked about earlier, the impact on hormonal health. Healthy cell membranes ensure that hormones are efficiently transported and received through the body, promoting better hormone sensitivity and balanced metabolism. Regulating cortisol levels. You don't need a drink. You need your E-omegas. As impact on hormonal health, balanced cortisol levels improve emotional well-being, prevent adrenal burnout, the back-to-back diamond clubs, and protect other hormones like estrogen and progesterone from being disrupted. And then supporting thyroid health and metabolism with our DHA and EPA. And then, I can't speak highly enough about PD Restore as a place to start. Promoting hormonal balance through the gut-brain axis. For one, just when you feel better, you don't mess up your hormones because you're not stressed and we don't cause the disruption, right? So one is just by mood. Second, we support estrogen metabolism and prevent imbalances. If ladies are estrogen metabolites, they go right into our digestive system. And so if you're not having at least, not bare minimum, at least one bowel movement a day, guess what happens? Gets reabsorbed. And then we experience estrogen dominance. So supporting estrogen metabolism, improved estrogen metabolism reduces the risk of estrogen dominance, which can lead to PMS, irregular cycles, and hormone imbalances. Okay. Enhancing nutrient absorption. Again, we need all those nutrients to make our cells work correctly. Those cells make the hormones, so we need them there to be able to produce the optimal production of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and thyroid hormones, and then again, reducing inflammation to support hormone regulation. So, when it comes to regulating our hormones, where do we start? I love it. Does that mean that we're not also gonna add the clarity sage and time in a capsule twice a day? No, go for it. That's not where we start. We start with the foundations and then we build on it. I think that's it. I think that was the last one. Yeah, it is. All right, guys. We love you so much. Thank you for coming. Thanks for staying late with us. Let's do it.
Thank you. This was great. I want to go on to a new subject now for the next hour and a half.
Oh, no puede ser.
Jared was kind enough to ask if I wanted to say a closing comment or two. I really don't have anything to add. I think it speaks for itself about where we're heading, the importance of understanding the basics of the values that we bring to people. But I also want to express our deep and sincere appreciation for you. I was watching carefully as we were going through the evening, and lots of head nodding and lots of picture taking, and we appreciate your attentiveness. I love doTERRA. Our future is very, very bright. I know that we've had some challenges. I know that we've had some difficulties. But I think you got to see some insights today that we're standing among giants. We're standing among individuals who are just as committed with our mission and our purpose as ever have been. And we're standing with you who reflect the exact same thing back. In spite of where you think we might have been, maybe even in spite of where you think we are right now at this moment, where we are headed is where we have always been focused and trying to go to. Our work is at times overwhelming. Our work is always rewarding. And we share that in common. And so we look forward to our very, very bright future with you. We wish for you great success in all that you do in doTERRA. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, every time my partners and I gather, and if this offends you, I apologize, because we're going to do it for you anyway, as we do it for ourselves. We pray for guidance, we pray for understanding, we pray for knowledge and expertise, and we pray for that same thing to rest upon you. You and I will never have the opportunity to truly understand the impact we've had on others until somewhere far, far into the future. But we do have an inkling, and we do have daily experiences to tell us that it's worth 100% of the effort, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the hardships, because we are better when we help others. Let's go on that journey together. Thank you for being here.
Vamos a despedirnos aquí, donde están todos.
Hey guys.
Hi, thank you for everything. Doctor Doctor
Bueno, no lo entendí, doctor.
Ese es el de la película. ¿Cómo se llama?
Es el mago de Oz.
Es el del mago de Oz. Bueno, chicos, pues estuvo padrísima esta jornada del día de hoy. Nos vemos el día de mañana con el favor de Dios.
Mañana vamos al catamarán.
Mañana nos toca convivir con nuestros amigos de Norteamérica Latina. Entonces, despídete, mi amorcito.
See you later, alligator.
Nos vemos. Que pasen buenas noches, que Dios les bendiga. Los quiero mucho.